Welcome to the Bitchin' Siblings Podcast.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Bitchin' Siblings Podcast. I'm Ginny.
Hey, guys, it's Amy.
And I have another this or that. And this one doesn't really have a theme. So I'm back on my no theme.
Oh, good.
No record scratch moment this week.
Okay.
I have to keep you guys on your toes, okay?
Well, yeah.
All right. So before I get into it, you guys, Amy got herself a new laptop.
It's not a laptop. It's a desktop.
It's a desktop, but she's got some like fancy ass equipment now. She's moving up in the world.
Yes. And my video is phenomenal, isn't it?
I know. It's so much better than mine. Now I'm like sitting here going, maybe I need to upgrade. Look at that.
All you need to do is use like an old iPhone for your webcam.
Yeah. I always trade in my old iPhones or give them to my children and like I get the new one and then I get my old one. So.
That's fair.
Okay, so this or that. Tea on the balcony.
Whoa, what?
Yeah. Tea on the balcony or lemonade in the garden.
Lemonade in the garden.
Okay.
I like the smell of flowers. I feel like on the balcony I wouldn't be able to, like, I can see a lot from up there, but
I feel like it depends on where the balcony is. Because if the balcony is overlooking like the garden and like if you had like a big acreage. But like if you were in the city, then I mean, as much as that's still a pretty view, I would prefer to be in the garden.
This is true.
So I mean, I think it really just depends. I'm going to assume if we're saying balcony, we're probably overlooking something. It just depends on which landscape you want it to be. So I think you could make it whatever you wanted.
Probably.
So I'd probably do balcony just because then I can overlook and listen to the birds.
And in all fairness, if I'm having tea on the balcony, it's not going to be like hot tea. It's going to be like either some sweet tea or
iced tea or sun tea or
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Vintage style or modern style. Now, it does not specify clothing or houses or just in general, like, is your style vibe more vintage or more modern?
I'd say probably vintage.
Mm-hmm.
For me, just because, like, one, clothing and decor, even, I feel like modern is just not for me. Mm-hmm. Not to say that it's bad. It's just not for me.
I'm more modern. But I like a little spritz of vintage. I like to take vintage pieces. Like a perfect example is I got a beautiful painting when my mom passed. And I was going to keep it in the frame. But then on its trip down here, the glass in the frame and everything broke. So I need to put it in another one. The picture itself is very vintage, but the frame I want to put it in, I want it to be a little bit more modern with like vintage flair. So I like to have like a little vintage in it, but I still like to have there be some modern vibes in it. So
that's fair.
I like to take some of the older pieces and just make it more modern. So like you can keep that old school feel, but still like keep it into the newer style so it fits. You know? I don't want to have to like take that down and not hang it because, it's a vintage picture. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can redo the mat and the frame to keep up with the times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Live in Africa or live in Europe?
Live in Africa. I want to be where the animals are. I almost saying that as if, it was under Ariel. I want to be where the animals are. No, not the people.
Yeah.
No, if I lived in Africa, I feel like I could do a lot more for animal conservation.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's I actually was talking to Chris about this the other day, that I feel like that's my calling, is some kind of animal protection and conservation.
So funny, because when I was younger, I wanted to be a wildlife biologist and I wanted to go on the safaris and save all the lions and elephants and stuff. And
yeah,
obviously I never did that, but So obviously Africa is for me too.
You don't live in Africa right now?
I do not.
Oh.
I do not.
I'll have to update my address book.
Yeah, if you're sending stuff to me, it's going to the wrong place. Although I do appreciate Europe because Europe is so big. I mean, it would be cool, but I just feel like you're right. I think Africa's, yeah, I could live in Africa. And obviously some places are not safe, and I understand that, but it's the same in Europe. So
it's the same anywhere you go.
Right, right.
It's an entire continent where you can find a place on that continent where you can be safe, but still,
and do like your part to be beneficial to the area.
Yeah.
Okay. Cherry blossom trees or apple trees?
Apple.
Really?
Like, I love the look of cherry blossom trees, but cherry blossom trees don't produce cherries.
Correct.
So I want something that's going to give me food. And I love apples.
I agree in that sense, but I think I would rather the cherry blossom tree because apple trees, to be able to produce a fruit that's actually edible, because I used to have a neighbor that had apple trees and they never really like pruned them or did anything, so you really couldn't eat the apples. They never got sweet or whatever. They just like they'd bought the house from my uncle actually who built it, and they had put cherry like apple trees, and so like they just didn't like prune them and like fertilize them and do what the due diligence is to make an apple tree actually. I mean, it produced fruit, but they were insanely sour, very hard. It didn't matter. You know what I mean? They became mealy. It attracted a lot of bugs. And I just feel like it's a lot of work.
Okay, but you still have to prune a cherry blossom tree.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I don't have to do that if I don't want to. I could let it grow. I mean, if you want an apple tree to produce apples, you have to take care of it. It's not just something you can like plant and let it grow and then just do its thing.
I mean, that's fair, but I grew up with several apple trees in Grandpa's yard, and those apple trees.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they're good apple trees and you take care of them. I mean, shoot, we had a plum tree in our yard and we couldn't eat the plums either because by the time, I mean, it just wasn't taken care of. And by the time they were eaten by the bugs because we didn't spray for them. And you know what I mean? So like, there's a little bit more work, I feel like, to an apple tree. And as much as that sounds great, that's more work than I'm willing to put into it.
Okay, in all fairness, I'm not going to put the work in. I'm going to tell my husband to go do it.
See? Yeah. And my husband's not an outdoorsy person, so if I don't do it, it wouldn't get done.
See, and no matter what, like, plants that I touch die. I can tell him exactly what to do, and it will work great. He's got the greenest thumb. I've got a black thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. Okay. Train tickets or plane tickets?
So that's a hard one. It depends on where I'm going. If I'm just like going through the countryside, I want to go on a train. I want to see everything.
Right.
But if I'm going like a long distance, just get me there. I want a plane ticket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like if coming out to you, I'm sorry. I've seen the landscape enough. I've driven it a couple times. I don't need a train.
Right.
To come out to you.
No.
I want a plane. So it really just depends on where you're going.
I think that if it's anywhere in the United States, I would want to do a plane ticket just because there's a lot of space in between that is very flat, and it's beautiful in its own way, but it can get quite, I don't want to say monotonous, boring, but monotonous. Now, if we were like in Europe, I'd rather be a train because there's smaller countries. There's so much more topography to go through and everything. So you're right. I think it's very determined by where you're at.
Yeah. And where you're going.
And this is coming from somebody who doesn't like to fly, but I would prefer to get there quickly and be done as opposed to, multiple days of travel.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But a train does sound like a train ride. Like, I really want to do this thing in Colorado. It's not that far from us, where like you take this train ride and it just takes you all the way through the mountains, and like it's like a winery type thing where you like drink wine, and like it's got like all the open windows, and I just want to do that. They also have a tequila one.
Yeah, okay, I'll come down there and we can go do the tequila one together.
Yeah. Okay. Because then you could just fly into Denver and I could just drive there because it's only like 5 hours away. And then we could just, make it a thing. Okay, 2 more. And this one is similar to like the vintage style, modern style in the sense that it's not necessarily clothing. It's just a vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So would you rather effortless and ethereal or curated and creative? So do you want more like effortless, like it just comes to you and it's just there, or do you want it to be more of a planned, curated, planned out thing?
No, I want the what was the first one? Something in ethereal.
Effortless and ethereal.
Yeah. So I want effortless and ethereal.
Yeah.
I also when I hear the word ethereal, I think angels.
I think
fairies.
Know why.
I love how we both went different on that, but still very
similar.
Yeah.
I think ethereal is more like fairies and like dragonflies and you know, earthy, whereas to me curated and creative is very structured and planned out and very dictated and you know.
And let's be honest, I don't do well with when I feel forced to be creative. When I have a time that I'm gonna go be creative at the no. Like the creativity comes to me or it doesn't.
Yep. Perfect example is we had a work thing a couple of weeks ago as like a team building thing, and it was on like a Saturday morning at my boss's house, and we all had like this piece of wood that we were supposed to like make like a door sign for or whatever. And they're all super creative. They're all beautiful. And then there's mine. I showed you a picture of this. Remember where I was like, did I send that picture to you? I was like, which one did the kindergartner do? Like,
no, you did not send me this.
I'll have to send you a picture. And I sent a picture because there was like mine and then there was like 3 others. And like, obviously you can tell which one's mine because like I'm not creative at all. So I just like wrote our last name. So like if you didn't know what my last name was, you could look at that and go like, which one did the kindergartner do? And I was like, I'm just gonna claim my niece did it because then everybody's gonna be like, oh, look at how good she is, but not a 41-year-old. And so then they were all looking at it and they were like, oh my gosh, we should do it again. And I was like, you guys, I am not a creative person. We need to stop doing these art projects. Every time they all get together, they want to do art projects, which is great. That's awesome. It's fun. I'm not an artsy person. Nor do I have the patience. I get 5 minutes into it. We've discussed this. 6 minutes into it, I'm done. And again, it's the same with what you just said. When you tell me from this time to this time we're going to be creative, you just put a roadblock right in front of me where I'm like, nope,
Yeah, that's how my brain is. Like, you cannot, my brain cannot go with,
You want to hear the funny part about that too, though, is that I was like telling my husband about that. And I was like, honey, I was like, I really want to do something that like I'm really into. And I was like, but I'm not really like, I don't really like excel at anything. You know how some people just like, most of my girlfriends are at work are like super creative and artistic. I'm not. I'm not down on myself by saying I suck. I just do not excel at anything. And he goes, well,
you know what your strengths are, and those aren't one of them. Right.
And you know what? He's like, you should go do something with them that you're really good at. And he goes like, drinking tequila. That's what my husband said.
I mean, he's not wrong.
I know, but I can't go hang out with my bosses and drink tequila and think that they're all going to be like, woohoo, let's go do that too. So my husband recommended that I take them all out to go drink tequila because apparently I do that very well.
You do. I have to admit.
That's the only thing I excel at is drinking tequila.
Okay, so my homework this week is to think of things that you excel at that is not drinking tequila.
Yeah, that's good luck, fucking hard. Because I've been trying for like 2 weeks and I can't find shit. Like, I mean, I'm good at cooking. I don't excel at it. I'm good at baking. I don't excel at it. I can be creative. Don't excel at it. I can garden. Good God, do not excel at it. I'm not a black thumb, but I'm certainly not a green thumb. I can make some things work and some things. Like, there's nothing. I can do everything at a normal expectation. I do not excel in one thing. I just don't. And like some people really do.
I came up with
like,
one.
What? Talking?
Momming. No, momming.
I don't think I excel at that.
You do. Because there's proof because you have 2 very well-rounded, well-balanced children.
No, I know, but that's not me. That's just being a mom. Like, what is something that I do? You know what I mean? That's like for me. Like, some people like to bake, some people like to cook, some people are artistic, some people can sew, some people can, I can't, there's nothing that I do outside of just like being a mom and a wife that I excel at.
I'll think about it and get back to you.
I can't think of anything, and I have thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I can talk.
I mean, that's
more of an annoying thing for most people.
It depends on who you're talking to, because obviously I don't find that annoying. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this podcast.
I guess the one thing I did come up with was I do know a lot of unnecessary trivia. Like, unnecessary.
But
like,
do you enjoy that?
I enjoy it when people ask questions and like I know the answer, and most people are like, how the hell do you know that? And it's like, I heard it here, or I heard it there, or whatever. So like when it comes to like pop trivia, like pop culture, I know an insane, not as much now as I did like maybe 5 years ago. I knew a little too much about things that I probably had no need or no reason to know.
Yeah.
But that's not like I excel. I just happen to either overhear something, and I have a very good memory. So I just log that shit away. But nothing that I'm good at that I can do with a group of people that I enjoy, that somebody else would enjoy too. Like art projects. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at, is like, okay,
so I think that's why they do the like the wine and paint events, because one person's good at painting and the other person's good at drinking. So,
No, we had mimosas there, believe me. I did good at that. But I can't only drink in front of my boss and have her think I'm a sane person. Like, I really am trying to think of what is something that we could do. There's a group of us. There's 5 of us. And it's like, and every single one of them are fucking... I will send you a picture of this.
Well, I can't look at it now because I'm using
my... have it. I don't even know if I still have a picture in my phone. Like,
well, if you sent it to somebody, it might still be in that chat. I sent it in a
snap.
Oh.
So I don't know that I can check the snap camera roll to see if it's in there.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, is it even in there? I don't know how to keep track of that shit. But anyways, that's me. So the last one is one more. Okay?
Okay.
Travel with your best friends or travel with your lover.
Okay. So here's another one of those where it depends on where I'm traveling. Because certain places I don't want to travel with my husband. Mm-hmm. I want to travel with you.
Mm-hmm.
And certain places, not to say that I don't want to travel there with you, I would, but it might be more fun as a romantic thing.
Right.
So that's hard. Like, because when I'm going to Australia, no offense, I love you, but Bill's going with me there. Because he wants to see all the animals like me. If I go to Africa, you're going with me.
Yeah. Okay.
If I go to Alaska and see the Northern Lights and the Iditarod, sorry, again, I love you, I'm going with my husband.
Yeah. But see,
when I go to Europe, you and I are going together.
See, and I feel like I just sent it to you, just so you know. I feel like I agree with you in that sense, where it really does depend on where I'm going. I am not one of those people that my husband is my best friend. I love my husband. Do not get me wrong. He's one of my best friends. He is not my only best friend.
Exactly.
And it's very much the same with any other best friend. Some best friends are great for traveling, and some are best for, doing art projects, and some are really good at just chilling. So like really just depending on the situation would depend on which best friends.
This is true too.
So that's why I would say best friend, because my husband is one of my best friends, so I could still travel with him as a best friend.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like, yep. But he's not my only best friend. Like, I hate when people are like, oh, my husband is my best friend. No, I mean, he's one of my best friends. But I love my husband. He's not one that likes to listen to people vent, because he's very much a practical person.
Yeah.
So I don't usually vent to him about some things. I will vent to you.
Exactly.
There's other times where I won't talk to you, but I'll talk to my other friend A. Like, so I would say best friend.
Yeah, that's a very good workaround.
Well, because I think some places I'd want to travel to my with my husband as my best friend and not as my lover, because it's not romantic and it's not, sexy. It's a trip. It's
and it's something that you both would enjoy experiencing.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true, because like the Alaska, that wouldn't be necessarily a romantic thing, and neither would Australia, but those are things that we would both enjoy.
See, and I wouldn't go anywhere that was super nature driven with my husband, because that's not for him.
Exactly.
So obviously I don't have other lovers, but I have other best friends that would love to partake in that,
Yeah. And like I said, I've got like the current other best friend that I have. I mean, I've got 3 best friends.
Mhm.
Let's be real. It's you, my husband, and Marlena.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I take that back. There's one more.
Are you allowed to say her name first of all?
Yes.
Okay.
She's actually been helping me a lot. And her
Good.
name's Rainey.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
So,
Well, I mean, see, that's why I say best friend, because 1, it is, like you said, a loophole, but 2, I just feel like you're right. It really is just depending on where you're going. And, it's the same with your husband. He has back issues. So he's not going to go somewhere that he doesn't really want to go and put himself, through that sort of pain, if he doesn't need to, because there's somebody else that you could go with that would enjoy it much more.
Exactly. And like we've talked about it, like part of the reason we would never, ever likely go to Australia, because the flight from Los Angeles is 16 or 20 hours or something like that. He would not be able to be on a plane that long.
Same here. Like, I don't want to go there enough to endure that long of a plane ride. Like, I would love to go there, but that is such a long plane ride. There is not one thing I want to see bad enough that I'm willing to take that plane ride. Nope.
See, and I'd take the plane ride as long as I could get up and move around. Like, as long as it's not like a domestic flight where it's 3 people in a row in like little sardine. Yeah, no, that kind of flight, no. But the ones like on movies where you can actually recline a little, you have some space, I would do that kind. Yes.
Yep.
Because let's be real, half the time I'd be sleeping anyway.
True. All right, that's all I have for you.
All right, guys, shoot us an email, Ginny and Amy podcast at gmail.com. That's GINNYANDAMY podcast at gmail.com. We are also available on YouTube. Our channel is at Bitchin' Siblings.
I subscribed the other day.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Yay.
I did. I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
And then you can also reach us on Instagram at Bitchin' Siblings Podcast. That's the only one that I know off the top of my head. Amy and I are going to have to like start sharing these so that she doesn't do all of them and I only do Instagram. Because apparently I don't know our phone number. Oh, you can also, we have a Google phone number, you guys. You can call, leave messages, voicemails. Please leave your name so we know who you are. Phone number is 785-538-9128. Again, phone number 785-538-9128.
Awesome.
I had help with Amy with a Post-it note up next to the camera.
You're very welcome.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.